YouTube, Electric Adventures here with a behind the camera video because we have a large package in the mail. For those familiar with the channel, this is usually when I've gotten a new system. Now I do have a large number of retro computers and consoles, but there are still some that I've been after for quite some time, and this one is one that I've been after for a very long time. Now we have lots of loose things and polychlorine everywhere. I'm going to try and do this without making too much of a mess. Get that out. Probably should have maybe had another box to put all the bits in, but anyway. Okay. So, can't really guess what it is yet, but it's a system that I have been after for quite some time. I never thought I would find one of these, let alone an actual power one, which makes it really convenient, and really convenient for power supply and things like that. I won't take everything out of the box. Let's move that to one side. And here we go. It's an Atari 800. So this is the original release machines of the Atari 8-bit machines. This was released alongside the 400, which I have one of, although it's a US one. So that does make power a little bit interesting, but it works and everything like that. I've never physically owned an 800 myself. We did have one in the very early days of the store that I used to hang out at, that I then later worked at in later years. But they actually eventually sold the 800 they had, and then they got an 800 XL, which is actually the 800 XL that I have now. So very interesting. This is a real piece of Atari and computer history, and it's in very good condition. I mean, it obviously needs a little bit of a clean, but all of the buttons are intact. It's got a system reset switch there. It's a lovely machine. They're actually built like an absolute tank. Now in here, pop that open. We actually have a little protection thing in there. We have both a left and right cartridge slot, and this is where the left cartridge thing comes from, because most of the games are left cartridges. Basic doesn't come built in, it's an actual cartridge itself. So this allowed two cartridges to be put in the machine, and actually one cartridge that I don't have yet, which is the disassembler, which I would like to get at some stage, could be put in the right, and then another ROM in the left, so you could use them at the same time. Now obviously it does need a little bit of a clean out, so this is the little protection plate here. I think that's got little things that, I don't actually remember there being plate in them before, but that's obviously original. We'll leave that out for the moment, otherwise it's going to rattle. It is going to need a bit of a clean out. Now behind, sorry for my hands getting in the way, I'm going to have to go the other way. And remember how to open this. Don't want to break anything. Behind the, there it is. Behind the rear panel, if I can do this, it's going to go that way. Oh goodness me. Obviously a thing, once you know how to undo it, you are fine. I just don't want to break any plastic, so there we go. Right. So this particular unit has So unlike the Atari 400, which didn't come, it just came with 16K of RAM on the motherboard. The Atari 800 could be expanded. So this one has a 10K ROM operating system, which could be swapped out. So I take it this will boot basic when I turn it on, and it has 3 extra 16K RAM slots. So it takes it up to, I think there is 16K of RAM on the motherboard, so it either takes it up to 64K, or that is the only RAM that has, and it makes it a 48K machine. As you can see, it's all solid metal construction in there. Now, output is only RF, as you can see there. So, spinning the machine around, the back of it is actually quite unremarkable and boring. We have underneath, let's have a close-up of that. So this is number 6936. Yeah, Atari 800 48K RAM, so there is no RAM on the motherboard. Right, so moving around, so there's nothing on that end of the unit. And then going around, we have this end of the unit where we have where the power goes in, an internal power switch, we have a channel switch. And this is the DMA or expansion port, so it's a standard Atari expansion port. You plug both the tape drive and the disk drive into it. The Atari, these original Ataris have a really slow tape loading speed, and here is actually a monitor port. I'll have to see what the wiring is on that. I may already have a cable that will fit that, which would be great. Now underneath at the front we have 4 joystick ports, just like the original 2600, so you could actually play 4 player games. So really chuffed about getting this unit. I will clean it up a little bit, plug it in and fire it up, and we can have a play. So there we go. I've plugged it in. I've found my basic cartridge and plugged that into the left cartridge slot and turned it on, and it works. And the keyboard is actually really nice. As you can see, I can quite happily type away there. Basic is pretty good. It's got a few different commands and things. There we go. I press the brake key. So all the keys work, and it's actually quite nice to type on. I would have loved having a machine like this with a keyboard like this back in the day. They were actually quite expensive back then as well. And by the time I saw one of these, they were actually fairly old already. So I've been out for a couple of years. Around the time when these came out, they did actually come out to Australia fairly quickly, but I was more interested in the Atari 2600 at that time, and I don't think I ever saw a store with one those in those early first couple of years. It would have been at least 82 until I saw one. Alright, so that's not that interesting. What I'll do, I have a book. Where's the book gone? A book here, which has actually got some, I mean, I've got a couple of books, but this one's got some more machine codey type book type stuff. So I'm going to type one of those in and just show you a couple of the Atari's capabilities. Right, so I thought I'd show you a little listing using the book displayed above. I've typed in my listings, sorry, just going to screen save mode. Now there is a little line in the middle of the screen because after typing this in I have tested it. It's not working 100%, so I think there's an actual bug in the listing. That's the old plague of typing in listings from things, or I've made a typing mistake. But you can see there's a bit of code there. This is dealing with the player missile graphics that the Atari has, and it does a little bit of line drawing, and hopefully it has some sound. I've actually tested the sound. It also uses the joystick, so it's demonstrating a few different things. And the interesting thing about Atari sprites is that each sprite actually you only change the horizontal position of it, and then it by default it takes up the whole vertical positioning. So to draw a shape you need to line by line change it. So this is doing nothing complicated than that, and you can see the one bug is that the ball, this is a bat and ball game, the start of the ball is not being changed, so it sort of draws a line going down the screen, but as it moves back and forth the whole thing moves. It's an interesting way of how you program the sprites, and the whole way how you get more sprites is that if you've drawn one sprite up here, you can reuse exactly the same sprite at a different position over here or over here later on, because you've finished drawing it vertically. And you do have more player and missile sprites on the Atari 8-bits than you do the Broad 2600. That only had one player and one missile, I believe. Alright, so what we'll do is we'll run this, and we'll see if I haven't messed it up. Right, so that fixed up the wall. Oh, here's my bat. Started off the screen for some reason. Now the score, I think there might have been a special character at the beginning rather than larger than. We only have to touch it, but it's not properly doing collision detection with the bat, and all it knows is we've touched the sprite, and since the sprite has been drawn vertically, it doesn't matter. It's also interesting if I let it go, it will bounce back and forth like that as well. But this is all written in BASIC, and as you can see, it's quite easy to get something running. BASIC, because that listing wasn't very big. But you do need to know a lot of the guts of the machine. You've got to do lots of pokes and peeks and things like that. There are some commands. Now, one thing I will say, we don't seem to be getting any sound, but that's okay. I'll work that out later. I'm also so that's a good fun little game, and just a bit of a demonstration of what you can do with Atari Basic. Alright, so rather than play about with that, let's go play some actual games. Right, so here we go with Demon Attack. I thought we'd have a quick look at this one because it only plays on the Atari 400 and 800, so it's an opportune moment to have a go. Oops, audio turned up on the monitor as well. Now, it's quite a colourful game. Now, the capture is going to be a little dark because I've still got this hooked up over RF. Should be able to improve that once I find my... I have a cord around for the Atari 8-bits to get the composite out, I think. So Demon Attack on the Atari 8-bits, it's very similar to the Atari 2600 version, just with a little bit more detail in the characters. It's not very hard as long as you watch what you're doing to start with. But it definitely ramps up, and it's got that urgent tone that the randomness of the movement takes a little getting used to. You only get one shot at a time, and you have to wait for the next shot. And you do get extra life every scene. Now there's no boss ship, which was actually interestingly added to the Intellivision version, which makes it an interesting version and also makes it more like Phoenix in a lot of ways, which is what they got in trouble with Atari over. And it's a good little game for sound and thing, but I will say once you've played it for a while, it doesn't offer a lot more replayability. It does have quite a few levels though, I will say. So, we're in the vertical laser shooting section at the moment. But over the 2600 version, this is obviously showing more, a little bit more colour. You see, if you shoot the bottom ones all the time, the ones to the left are up top and they don't shoot. Now, this is where it starts getting a little bit more interesting. You shoot them once, they turn into separate things, and then the remaining one comes down and swoops down and attacks you, and randomness, you've got to be really careful. And time your shot. Whoops, oh, there we go. Good to demonstrate how you die. Walked into that. And again, if you're not careful, you can very quickly lose your lives. As I'm thus demonstrating. Oh, goodness me. And again. Oh, that's actually probably a quick game over by me, but a very interesting game and well worth playing on the system. Right, so next I thought we'd try Donkey Kong, and the Donkey Kong version on the Atari 8-bit machines is actually quite good because it has the orientation correct compared to the arcade, and it also has the all of the levels, which is quite different from a lot of the other Donkey Kong conversions from back in the day. Now, I am playing this on a power machine, so that does sound a little slower than normal. Now, it is an early game, but it's still quite well programmed. And it is by Nintendo. No, that was an intro. So it has all of the intro sequences. Now the jump mechanic is not too bad. There's a bit of flickering and carrying on, and it's a little dark, but once again, that's my RF connection. These guys, they're quite reasonably aggressive in this version. It even has little things of, you know, Pauline goes to the other side whenever you go to up on the top, so you can't touch her. Try and hang up. Has all of the intro and outro sequences, which makes it one of the most complete home versions. Now, of course, just like the arcade, to start with, it does first screen and last screen, and then you go through again and you get one more screen. So I actually have to get a reasonable way here to show you more of the levels. That's dangerous. Actually need to jump on it. The controls are reasonably responsive. And it's got all the music in there. Now, of course, we have the elevator level. Not too hard to do the elevator level when you know. Now up to 75 metres, so once again this will be the end screen again. to go for high school. I'm just trying to complete this. Clear him out a little bit. Oh, I knew that was going to run out just this way. Now I need to get all that's good. Just like to nip off. Okay. Now, of course, I do need to get through the first screen again before I can show you the Pie Factory. Collision detection. Still got a couple of lives left, so is that I'm just trying to get up to the Pie Factory to show you. And notice how it's got the randomness in the barrels too. And this is not the same set we were playing before, which is great because it means I can, even though we had an aggressive fire guy, get through to the pie level. Now this is quite hard. It just depends. Because the fire ones come out straight away. Oh dear. And it is pedantic over Hammer versus Mario. No. That's it, I didn't get very far. Oh, I was only going to show you up to that screen anyway. So as you can see, it's got the Pie Factory in it. Alright, we might do 2 more games. Alright, let's try another one. Now next I thought we'd try, we obviously had to go with a Pac-Man game. Now the Pac-Man game for the Atari is actually really good and very close to the arcade. Mrs. Pac-Man, being a little later, is even better than that, and also obviously has the variety of the different mazes, so I thought we'd give that a go. Actually press the start key for us. This is the actual start button on the Atari 800s. A bit of a jerk in the animation cycle. Uh-oh. I'm dead already. That's nice. Waiting. Okay, quick one. As you can see, look, it's got the eyeball return. This. Oh. I'm toast again. Sorry, I should be looking at the monitor and not my capture. I think that's what the problem is. Like I said, I've got to find the video cord and get this hooked up. I mean, all things considered, it doesn't actually do it too bad. A too bad picture, really. And the sprites are really well animated. There we go. And I've done a frame. We'll do a couple. So a little bit faster. Same mistake as last time. Oh. Ah, just caught me. Not showing super Pac-Man skills here, are we? Let's just try and get... Yeah, turn around. It's already get me. Finish the level so I can get to the next. So once again, intermission scenes. And we get different maze. Choice makes Mrs. Pac-Man such a nice game compared to the original Pac-Man. Just gives you something else to teeth into, so to speak, as far as the game's concerned. You know, something to work through. You have to be careful because they do move faster than you. You got me. One more life. Let's see how far we can go. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, on toast. Okay, straight down. Power pillar this time. We'll get on the next level, see how much faster it gets. I don't know, but I'm going to be able to show you the third maze. Time to use one of these exits. Right, here we go. Just going for the dots, not for the score, just so I can show you the third maze. I think it's got 3 mazes. Oh, we'll just get this maze a little faster. I really doubt it will last much longer. No. Turned the wrong way. Very enjoyable game. I'm absolutely loving getting out these Atari 8-bit games and playing through these on the system. Alright, I'll pick one more. Right, for our last game, I sort of really am just picking these at random. This is Super Cobra. Now this is a sequel to Scramble, it's released in the arcades. It is by no means an easy game. Especially these tanks. Keeping up with fuel I find is hard. whoops, there's not a lot of room in this level. Well, that solves the fuel problem. Oh, goodness me. I can do better than this. Now, see, it's interesting enough that the game Scramble was not converted to very many systems back in the day. Super Cobra was. Fuels, but at least we got through the first clearance section. It gives you fuel back. So time and run. The tanks. Level is split up into two sections, as you can see, to different colours. Oops. Oh dear, it's a very, very tight, quite a large ship to get through. So every second shot you fires the bomb. And if you re-fire, it actually starts the bomb again, so it doesn't make it down. That's what I was doing wrong, because I haven't played it for such a long time. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this look at my Atari 800, which has been newly added to my collection, a system I have been after for a very long time. Thoroughly enjoyed finding one in the flesh, and it's a PAL 240 volt one, which makes it easier for me to use. Do need a little bit more cleaning up on it and everything like that. And it's allowed me to get my Atari 8-bit collection out and have a bit of a look and stuff like that. So I already noticed that my database of games was missing some that I actually had. Oh, and another point I don't think I mentioned earlier, I actually do have the assembler editor. I found it while I had a look, so I'm quite pleased that I've got that, so I'll be having a play with that as well. Alright, I'm Electric Adventures. Thanks to all my subscribers, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.